A Christmas card to California. We were together for 7 years and became a blended family of 4. I was in love. Only recently she 37 moved in and brought her daughter 16 to join me 46 and my daughter 14. She hadn't yet given up her apartment 9 doors down the street from me. D-Day came August 31st. I looked in her phone. No, I'm not sorry I did. Over the next 3 months, she'd try to get us to ground zero 3 times and fail each time. The last confessed body count got up to 14. This includes 2 of her uncles consensual, 1 of her cousins, 2 of my friends, 1 of my friend's sons who was underage at the time 17, and a slew of others. There were also a bunch of others hovering around that she was tagging along. One of these was another of my friends, another was her cousin's husband. She says he kissed her among other attempts, and another was her good friend's father. Things may have gone farther with some or all of these too, but as of yet no confession. Trickle truth is par for the course here. Clearly she has no boundaries whatsoever. Everyone is fair game. No one is safe from being bitten by her bug. She makes them all feel they have a unique special connection with her. She can make anyone feel like $1,000,000. For a time I believed my ex-wife who separated 10 years ago was also in one of the groups above, but now I believe that didn't happen. Few. Alongside her many officially diagnosed mental illnesses, we both believe she has undiagnosed borderline personality disorder. It's an insatiable emotional need that's like a bottomless hole that can't be filled no matter how much love is heaped into it. And once someone starts to give her validation, she can't stop. I don't blame the mental illnesses for her choices, but damn, I've yet to read anything remotely close to my life story for the past 3.5 months on this forum. Not that it's a competition, if anything I'm the biggest loser. I'd never thought it possible that anyone is capable of doing all this. I was totally oblivious. And then my heart was shattered to pieces. After the first D-Day I went and talked to one of her affair partners. He was candid about their relationship. It didn't match her trickle truth story. I broke off reconciliation. We went 2 to 3 weeks NC. She wanted to try again. So I let her. I wanted to believe she could change. A few days into it, she had a breakdown. Suicidal thoughts. I took her to the hospital. They kept her overnight and set her up with a psychiatrist appointment for a week later. This time a few more confessions got added to the pile. I think we were at 8 to 10 by now. She showed me her phone again. This time I was ready on really knowing where to look. Things can very easily be hidden on phones. I hadn't bothered to learn any of this before, but I was ready this time. Apps. Disappearing conversations. Archived conversations. Notifications disabled for particular people. Hidden photo albums. The works. I didn't ever even use a passcode lock on my own phone. I never had anything to hide. Not only did I find in the hidden places in her phone that her attempt at ground zero was still just trickled truth on the ones I already knew, but in the 2 weeks of no contact, she was even fishing and succeeding for a new lover. The latest was an old friend of hers whom she sold some of her unused medications to. They have street value. I waited patiently for the psychiatrist appointment to arrive. After the appointment I sent her home with a Dear John letter telling her I no longer wished her to attempt reconciliation. She went home and 4 hours later turned the element of her stove on, waited for it to glow hot, and then purposefully jammed her arm into it 3 to 4 times. She came back and showed me what she'd done to herself. I took her to the hospital again. When she got home the next day she discovered that her daughter, my stepdaughter, had also self-harmed. 25 to 30 cuts up the inside of her left arm. Apparently she had also read my note. I was overwhelmed. This wasn't just a bad breakup, this was getting very dangerous. I didn't want to see the people I loved destroying themselves. She kept saying she wanted help, real help. Please could I help her? I wanted to help her. I wanted to believe I could. My stepdaughter didn't deserve this. She did nothing wrong. We talked. We talked a lot.
No matter what happens between your mother and I love you and I'll always be there for you.
But I had to get away. I went to the UK with my daughter for 2 weeks. I saw old friends. Good friends. They hugged me when I cried and told them what I was going through. I felt genuinely cared for. When I was over there she found her daughter's diary. Going back years she wrote about how she hated her mother. How her mom is a homewrecker. How she doesn't like her own body. How she herself has contemplated suicide. How her scissors are her friends. How I do things for her, and how I show interest in the things she does. How she fears being abandoned. And oh, how she loathes her mother. Her mom broke down again. When I got home, my stepdaughter came to me. "I'm sorry," she said. "Over the past few years I've looked through mom's phone. I saw things I shouldn't have. I didn't tell you. I'm so sorry." I almost cried. I told her none of this is her fault. I would never have expected her to inform on her mother. I can only imagine what it's like for a 14 to 16-year-old to carry this weight. She said she wanted to move back in with me. For my daughter and I to take her in. I told her we would, if that's what she wanted. In our jurisdiction, a child 16 plus can choose for themselves where they live, no matter what anyone else says. Her mother had chance 3 to get to ground zero. And also once and for all tell the affair partners and men hovering around to finally buzz off. She wrote emails and texts to many, "You're not part of the life I want. I need to salvage my relationship. I will not be contacting you again." In a state of continuing mental decline, she told me more. Bringing us up to the 14. But some of the stories went backwards from last attempt at ground zero. You see, one tells so many lies, and there's so many people, she even forgot what truths she'd already told. Suddenly people she'd already confessed to having been with all the way was now only just a kiss. And the texts and the emails cutting off lovers to never see them again? There's 2 she couldn't write. The uncles. Can't we compromise? They're my family. No. I'm done. I'm moving on. And this time I'm ready. Meanwhile, her family in California booked a holiday for my stepdaughter. For her to get away from this madness. She broke the news to them that she's coming to live with me when she gets back, and not with her mother. They didn't like to hear that, but ultimately they understood. For now her mother is too broken and has told them to look after her. For them to make the decisions regarding her daughter, my stepdaughter. She hates it there and can't wait to come back so she can live with me. They found her self-harming again. They don't have health insurance for her. I told her stepdaughter not to worry, that soon when she comes back me and my daughter will be waiting for her with open arms. I hope and pray that your stepdaughter can come on home, see you, and she can begin to heal and rebuild her life, and I hope and pray that her mom signed her rights away from Badge, because right now her mom has all the cards right now. Just pray really hard that your ex decides to do right by her daughter and send her back to live with you so that she can get the help that she needs and she can have a chance at living her life. Unfortunately, there seems to be very little control you have in this situation. You have no legal connection to the child and her family can take her away from you at any time. As painful as it feels, and absolutely so unfair to the child, until she is an adult, you control nothing that happens. You can report things to authorities, but even that's difficult when you're another country away. I say all that to think you absolutely have to cut your ex off. Absolutely no contact. You can still maintain a relationship directly with the stepdaughter and give her support, but speaking to the ex only further draws you down. That's the sad reality here. You've got to protect yourself and your child, and you have very limited control of what happens to her. You've got to be careful about delivering hope that she can't realize. What to do when your reality quickly becomes an illusion. First time poster here. So bear with it. I am 28, met my dream girl F27 during the pandemic in 2020 by complete chance. It couldn't have gone better. We chatted all the time and got on perfectly and spent a few beautiful weeks together. I couldn't have asked for more. For me, it was the first person I'd been involved with for a good few years, more on this later, so I became quickly invested in her, and she did for me too. During this time we grew very close and started to have deeper conversations. I found out she actually had a boyfriend when we started talking, but she quickly ended that as things had fizzled out between them. I should have taken this as a sign. Anyway, by the end of a few weeks, the last ones of summer, I returned to university to finish off my degree, and so did she. However, we were both well over 6 hours travel from each other. We agreed to stay in regular communication and would talk every day in order to see how we would go. We spoke every minute of every day as much as we could, growing closer and closer despite the distance. I made the journey down one time and we had the most lovely weekend. It couldn't have been better. However, I have a quirk or two in my past that I feel I should inform someone of if I ever got close. Better to be honest and upfront and all that. I have a one-time incident on a criminal record on a night out that I'm not proud of and got myself into a hole about. I did some major soul searching at that time and realized my life was on a downward spiral and I need to sort it out. Long story short, I went from being a pretty dead end to studying online, gaining access to university, and now halfway through my master's, so I've made some progress. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Basically said girl's parents did not like that I had a past like that, even though I was about to graduate and progress on to the next level. After that, things started to become a bit distant. We still spoke each day and she convinced me she was going to talk to her parents about it when she flew back to Canada for Christmas. She's Canadian. If only if known this was a load of rubbish. I eventually called things off in January 2021 as chasing a girl for that long really starts to ruin your mental health. In my own words, at the time I'm 1% of the guy I used to be when we first met. So we went our separate ways. Flash forward to April 2021. I get a message from her asking me how I'm doing and that she missed me, etc. Me being the soppy guy I am, obviously went along with it. She had actually moved back to Canada in January that year to finish her master's degree, so at this point, she was still there. We chatted through all of summer, video calls every day and texting each day and saying all sorts of lovely things to each other. She was reeling me back in very well and suggested multiple times she was moving back the UK for me and to start a relationship properly. Obviously, this had me hooked. I thought things were going to start looking up. I was very excited. Things were strange sometimes over the course of summer, but I put it down to her being a bit stressed as her family were giving her grief for moving back to the UK and she had a lot on her plate with it. I feel so stupid for ignoring my gut about the whole thing. She got back here in July, and from that month till November it was absolutely perfect. We were great together and it worked so well. But then D-Day happened on 6th of November 2021. I had forgotten my laptop to do uni work, so she let me use her while she was at work. I saw some things that looked funky to say the least. Emails with her ex's name, pictures from old holidays and folders with pictures on the laptop just on the screen plain to see. I did some digging, and found some restaurant reservations from the first time we were talking. Some emails regarding academic journals. They were both on the same course and living in the same city. I asked her about it and she said they were on placement together and that was it. Then I pressed more and more. They went for dinner a couple of times. Then I pressed more. She went to his house over a couple of months to watch sports with him and his friends. Then I pressed more. He was walking her home from placement and she was inviting him inside. She slept with him on multiple occasions while talking to me. All of this info came out over a month and a bit. More information came too. She said she stayed at a cottage with her sister and mom when she was back home for a weekend. She was really with him and slept together twice. She saw him again with her family 2 weeks before she saw me again. Had sex with him in the back of his car. In her words, to make sure she didn't still have feelings for him before she saw me again. Honestly, since that day my head hasn't been right. I've been trying to struggle my way through it because she is convinced she made a terrible mistake because she knows I would be the best thing for her in every way. She basically feeds me all this stuff. Her reason for doing it? She didn't have approval from her family about me and thought I was too good for her, and she has low self-esteem, so tends to self-destruct. The thing is, she has cheated multiple times on all of her boyfriends. So she is a prolific cheater for a good number of years. She wants to reconcile, and is apparently madly in love with me and is now in severe depression because of what she has done to me. Her friend says she's never seen her like this over a guy before. Her parents and sister loved me when they met me. So they're very disappointed in her that she's done this to me. They didn't know in what capacity we were talking. She hid it. Everyone is hugely disgusted by what she's done and how she's played me for over a year. What do I do about this? I honestly don't think I could ever trust her again, not properly. If I could, it'd take years of hard work, and we don't live super close to each other at the moment. Half of me feels like I should consider trying to reconcile because maybe she did just make stupid choices. I don't believe anything is really ever a mistake, and perhaps under all of that shitty exterior, there's a good person, The other half of me feels like I should just cut my losses, chalk it up on the scoreboard as experience and move on. I'm at a pivotal time in my life, doing the best I've ever done academically and personally. I'm well on my way to graduating from my master's with a potential PhD on the cards. I never once pictured myself doing anything like this. The only thing making me think twice is that I do want a family, wife and kids and all that. Eventually. I just don't know if I would be missing out on an opportunity to help someone be better and maybe do well from it myself. So she cheated numerous times while you were long distance, lied about it, trickle-truthed, gaslit you about the reason, didn't take accountability. And now you are long distance again. And you are wondering what the future holds. She is going to cheat again. She likes the option of having you around but isn't loyal, honest or respectful of your commitment. That's not a good choice for a partner in a same-city relationship. I'm not sure why you would waste your time long distance. Stop with the long distance nonsense. Just ghost her, no explanation needed. You don't owe her anything. Every second you invest in her is a complete waste of your time.